For the fourth round of the BRDC ESports Championship with iZone, this round brought to you by HP Tuners, we are at Suzuka. There's only one more race to go after this, and we're getting towards the crunch point within the championship. Welcome everybody to what promises to be a really fascinating race, because in free practice we've had lots of people sliding off the road. They don't have the luxury of lots of runoff area here, lots of runoff tarmac, so this is where drivers have got to be precise, some doing it better than others. Plus, not only is it a really challenging circuit, but the championship very finely poised. Jonathan Hoggard comes here, the championship leader, just 1 point ahead of Oliver Rowland. David Addison, trackside. We'll be having a look at qualifying very shortly, and also a close look at the Suzuka circuit. But first, though, let's remind ourselves what happened last time out at Spa. 5 red lights will be extinguished to get round 3 of the championship underway. Good start being made by Adam Morgan. Drama in the background. We've got one in the barrier already from the very rear of the grid. But a good start by Jonathan Hoggard there. Green car of Bentley boy Seb Morris in the battle pack. Then he's running, what, 5th? Alongside 42 Inam Ahmed as they dive into the braking zone. It's Hoggard versus Sutton for 3rd. Sandy Mitchell versus Jordan Albert. Inam Ahmed is 5th. 6th is Seb Morris. Billy Munger is 7th as they come out of their con for the first time. And Oliver Rowland is in the points, having now picked off 25 places. Yes, 25 from where he started, now that the internet's working once again. And now that he's into the top 10, the championship leader should be able to make further progress. Oliver Rowland, there you see him, number 44, turning down now through Pouan. And he's charging, trying to fend off that little battle pack behind. But at the same time, go after Tom Canning ahead of him. Now look at the toe working. Inam Ahmed closing. Jordan Albert moves across to try to break that toe to cover off the inside line. To the outside goes Inam Ahmed. Is he going to be able to go by? Not there, he's not. He is, for the moment, still stuck in 3rd place, but he's crawling all over the back of Jordan Albert, isn't he, here?
Absolutely, and just taking the benefit of the toe at the right point at the right time on the circuit. It is almost, you know, when you look at it, it's not just who wants to lead going into the last lap or who's going to be able to get the benefit of the toe for the last lap of this race, but at what point. Getting a toe up out of Stavolo all the way up towards the bus stop, that might be the deciding factor on who finishes 2nd in this race.
Inam Ahmed now lining up to have another go to try to get himself onto the tail of Jordan Albert, which he does. Makes the move early though, doesn't he? He dives out of the draft quite early on rather than staying in the slipstream until the last moment. So he's got the work done. Inam Ahmed slots back in behind him and then will try to make a move. We had this years ago between Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon in FIA Formula 3. Jordan up the curb, Inam Ahmed staves him off and they get a touch, not quite. Inam Ahmed comes out ahead. Great racing still between these two. Absolutely faultless drive by Jonathan Hoggard. Pole position, made the break early on, let the ball squabble away behind him. Jonathan Hoggard wins round 3 of the BRDC ESports Championship with iZone. So all of that drama put Jonathan Hoggard up to the championship lead. Oliver Rowland wasn't able to do the qualifying session because of internet dramas, so he started at the back, carved his way through. He comes here just 1 point adrift. Now 3rd in the championship is Dan Harper, but sadly he is not racing this evening. Sadly he's not racing. The good news for him is that he has flown to Germany this afternoon to pick up on his BMW junior team commitments. So he was busy tweeting photographs of him at an airport, face mask on. Dan Harper will therefore lose from the race tonight, and I fear will lose from contention as far as the championship is concerned. But it's good that he is back in real world competition with his testing program for the junior team, and it allows the man that's 4th in the title race, Inam Ahmed, perhaps to get a little bit nearer to the front. Inam had 2 podiums here last year when he was racing in the Japanese Formula 3 Championship. Significantly, he's quickest in free practice as well. Inam Ahmed is still 21 points off Jonathan Hoggard, the championship leader, but with 25 for a win, 2 races to go, he could still do it if very bad fortune hit Jonathan or Ollie Rowland. So free practice being completed, qualifying to come, then our 25-minute race. Inam Ahmed currently the man holding sway in this free practice session, capitalising on that knowledge, on that experience from racing here in Japanese Formula 3. The Suzuka circuit, 3.5 miles long. Let's have a closer look at it. Your guide this week is Anthony Davidson.
Join me on the lap of the Suzuka International Circuit. This 3.4 mile track is one of the best in the world. So we head down the main straight here. You've got the pit buildings on the right-hand side and the pit exit on the right-hand side as well. Braking marker boards on the left as we swing flat out into turn 1. Brake as you turn in and keep it tight around turn 2. Early on the power, as early as you dare, because it takes you up the hill towards the infamous S-curves. Sacrifice the first one to open up the second one, and the same process again for this next left into the next right. If you run wide on any one of these, you compromise the next corner, and that takes away your momentum. Through turn 7, it all comes to a crescendo, and you've got to keep flat out around that one because it's important to carry the speed up to the first of the Degners. It's very narrow here, so you've got to maximise the width of the track, not too much curb on the outside, and again for the second Degner as well, not too much curb on the outside as you head under the bridge. Now a tricky braking zone comes up. Around the curve to the right of turn 10 into the hairpin of turn 11, one of the slowest corners on the track. It's cambered there, so it does help the car pivot round. Early on the power as you head up the hill once again, but this time towards the spoon curves. There are 2 of them coming up, and it's important to keep the flow into the first one. So for that you need to get the car right to the right hand side to open this one up, with the car teetering on the edge of balance before you slow it down just a bit more into the second apex there. Use a bit of the curb on the outside because it heads down the hill, then a long incline up the hill towards the 130R corner, which is flat out as well, so effectively a really long straight. You want to carry that speed through here. It's fingertip stuff not to scrub any speed in one of these cars before the final very difficult braking zone, the final chicane. Hook the car up over the right and the left curb just to help that rotation, get the car nice and straight around that final part, and through the final corner you head back down the hill onto the main straight once again, and that's a lap of this fantastic circuit.
So that is a look at the Suzuka circuit. It is one that is still catching out people, but giving great drama nonetheless. And we look forward to seeing what pans out in the qualifying session that will be coming up shortly. We've got, what, another 2 and a bit minutes of free practice still to go. This round brought to you by HP Tuners. A quick word about whom. It's an American-based company, not new to motorsport, however, because HP Tuners sponsors Ash Sutton, who is on this grid within the British Touring Car Championship, and also last year's Formula Renault Euro Cup champion, Oscar Piastri, who's a member now of the Renault Driver Academy and will be in the FIA Formula 3 Championship this year. I mentioned Ash Sutton, there he is, and Ash is currently 11th in free practice. Now, of course, the purpose of this championship is to raise money for the NHS charities. The British Racing Drivers Club working very closely with PR agency Talk, which has put a lot of effort into getting some great prizes. And one such prize is the ultimate BTCC experience with Jason Plato, Dan Camish and Tom Ingram. So you could win the chance to attend a BTCC weekend at Silverstone, which is in September this year, but for 2021, to make sure that that's going to be an open meeting, you'll get breakfast with Tom, lunch with Dan, and then coffee with Jason before watching qualifying on the Saturday. And then Sunday, you can come and enjoy the racing from within the BRDC clubhouse overlooking the stadium section of the circuit, which is always a part of the circuit that delivers fantastic action. So 3 drivers on one day, and then enjoying the racing from the clubhouse on the Sunday. You also get an HP Tuners goodie bag, including an MPV 12 tuning device worth £270. If you're a touring car fan, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And so there is that to try to win. There is also Andy Prio's Le Mans 2017 race suit that you could win as well. And how about a Silverstone track day experience with either Dario Franchitti or Derek Warwick? So one lucky winner of that gets the chance to attend a track day at Silverstone, spend the morning or the afternoon either with 3-time Indy 500 race winner Dario or Formula 1 driver, sports car world champion, Le Mans winner Derek Warwick. The choice of the two is yours, and already the bidding for that is going pretty high. So if you want it, you might have to dig deep, but digging deep for a good cause. And you can give also, of course, to this at the BRDC ESports Just Giving page. If you're not necessarily after a prize, but you just want to contribute, then thank you very much. And the graphic, of course, will confirm the address you can go to. And our thanks to everybody that's got involved in donating prizes, offering with promotion, and also lending support like HP Tuners, the company that provides tuning tools and software to modify and recalibrate your ECU and gearbox to get better fuel efficiency, more performance out of your car. And also HP Tuners are giving a Driver of the Day award as well, and we'll see who comes out on top for that. So as the big wheel revolves, pre-practice at an end, qualifying now gets underway. If you suddenly think, where are all the cars gone? They flick off. That's as the drivers reset, go again. Out they come. And inevitably, of course, the entry shuffles a little week by week, partly because 3 of the rising stars within the BRDC's Young Driver programme are brought into the championship for an individual round. Also, there are, we talked about it in the context of Dan Harper, 1 or 2 that aren't able to race for a given evening. Gary Paffett's one that's dropped out this evening, Jason Plato, Adam Christodoulou also, and so therefore other rising stars or other full members of the British Racing Drivers Club are brought in. Andy Merrick, who is the BRDC Superstars director, as you see Dario Franchitti having an off, came up with this idea initially for the Superstars, then it sort of morphed into letting in some of the rising stars and full members, and it has given us this quite amazing grid. And as the series has had its 3 races, Silverstone, Monza and Spa, 2 wins to Jonathan Hoggard, who was the winner last year of the Aston Martin BRDC Autosport Young Driver of the Year award, and 1 to Oliver Rowland, a former winner when it was backed by a different British sports car brand. Jonathan Hoggard then is, as I say, the championship leader by just that 1 point. 77 is Paul Rees, having a slide but correcting it as he accelerates through, and off the road there goes number 15, I fear that is, which is Anthony Davidson, who has got it wrong. So that's a car resetting, restarting, rejoining. Through goes number 42, Enam Ahmed. 1 or 2 of the liveries different for the purposes of this evening, but Enam Ahmed will be one to watch. Other newcomers include Arjun Maini, who we've seen in single-seaters, but most recently in sports car racing. And it's good also to have back Tom Canning, who was impressive at Spa until he tangled with fellow Aston Martin racer Johnny Adam. Over the timing line, number 10, Dario Franchitti then. So we'll get flying lap times offered up shortly to determine the grid ready for the 25-minute race that we have this evening. As yet, though, nobody has done a proper flying lap. They've had an installation lap, but we'll get flying lap times up shortly. Just going back to the championship, talking about the fact earlier that Enam Ahmed was going to be a man to watch this evening. Behind him, Jordan Albert and then Tom Ingram to round out the top 6. Jordan had his best showing with a podium at Spa last time out. Tom Ingram got 4th at Monza. And this is a new venue for him, but there is a Japanese link, of course, as a Toyota driver within the BTCC, now effectively a factory driver with the Gazoo backing that is lent to the Speedworks team. Tom Canning, looking quick, the GT4 champion in British GT last year for Aston Martin. Number 23 turns through, that being Tom Gamble, another former winner of the BRDC's Young Driver Award, for a season spent in international GT racing, what was Blancpain GT Series Sprint Cup last year. Charlie Fagg is another newcomer, Charlie having been impressive within European GT4 racing last season. And he's going to be one to watch this evening. Number 18 is Oliver Jarvis, pressing on. And briefly off the road and back on again is Tom Ingram, but he gets going, having squandered that lap. So as now we start to get times updated, it is Oliver Rowland who is the fastest, jointly with Arjun Maini, and then Jordan Albert 3rd. Where in all of this is Enam Ahmed, yet to post a proper lap time. Just to recap as well, justgiving.com/fundraising/BRDC esports is the address if you are able to donate to a very worthy cause. And with two drivers then tying on the top time, impressive, isn't it? You've got the man that's second in the championship and somebody new to this esports series, iZone Miney, then currently second quickest. Jordan Albert looking good. Ben Hanley knows his way around here. He's up to fourth. Sandy Mitchell fifth. Jonathan Huggard sixth. Now he's only about 3/10, if that, back from Ollie Rowland, but he's got to try and get himself closer to the front of the grid because Oliver's going to be tough to beat around here, seemingly. Through there goes number 23 then, which is Tom Gamble. Tom is, at the moment, yet to put in a proper representative lap time. Number 28 is Will Stevens, who's got experience of this place from not just sports cars, but Formula One. Martin Plowman looking good in sectors, and Martin goes 18th. So Oliver Rowland and iZone Miney locking out the front of the grid, but of course it is the driver that sets the time first that gets the higher grid position. So pole to Oliver Rowland purely because he was over the timing line sooner than iZone Miney was. Jordan Albert now goes quicker than both of them though on a 151.53 to put him up to the top of the time. So Jordan Albert by 200ths ahead of another newcomer, Ed Jones, back from racing in the States last year. Occasional historic racer as well, and former European F3 Open champion. Ed Jones, when he was second, he's now down to fourth because Ben Hanley goes top from Oliver Turvey. Then Jordan Albert down to third, Jones fourth, Rowland fifth, Miney sixth, Canning is seventh, Sandy Mitchell is eighth, Will Tregertha is ninth, Will Stevens is 10th. Every car that comes across the line now is shuffling the order. Richard Westbrook improves. Ash Sutton goes to the very top, so the British touring car champion of 2 years ago is now on a 3 years ago now, 151.44, goes quicker by 300ths of a second from Ben Hanley. More and more improvers almost every time a car crosses the line, as I say. But Oliver Rowland, for the moment, mired down in 6th. And where is Jonathan Huggard? He is only 13th, so Jonathan has got some work to do here in all of this as well. Will Tregertha is done. He's in the pits, so that is him no better than 11th on the grid. Pole position, of course, on the outside line at Suzuka. Right now, as I say, it is 300ths just between Sutton and Hanley for the front of the grid. Oliver Turvey is there on the second row with Jordan Albert. Through goes Oliver Jarvis. Now, Oliver's somebody else that knows his way around here. He's 19th, but you get the feeling that there is more to come there. What can Oliver Rowland do to get himself back up the order? He did look good in the first sector of that last lap, but he is better than anybody by the end of it because by 2/10 he's gone to the top of the times. Oliver Rowland then takes over pole position, and with him at the top and Jonathan Huggard 14th. Tom Canning has just done a very impressive lap to go second. Jonathan Huggard here is on the back foot, definitely. He's got to find something to get him up the grid. Inam Ahmed now goes on to pole position. Well, it was the same time as Oliver Rowland, and then they're both bettered by Sandy Mitchell by 400ths. Inam Ahmed was put ahead of Oliver, even though he had done the time later. Jonathan Huggard goes quicker than the pair, so he's second on the grid now. Sandy Mitchell, 100th quicker than Huggard. Ash Sutton ties with Mitchell, but he's given provisional pole position. So even though he set the time later, he is given the place on the grid slightly quirkily against how convention rules. That's Tom Ingram going over the timing line. And the lap for Tom is not a mega one. He's 21st behind touring car playmate Dan Camish. And we're almost at the end of qualifying, 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. But Ash Sutton provisionally then takes that pole position. As I say, normally it is the driver that sets the time first that gets the higher grid position, but not here. Ash put to the top of the times. And then Jonathan Huggard third, Oliver Rowland fifth. Only 300ths between Jonathan and Oliver in qualifying. A point between them in the championship, but they're at the pointy end of the grid with one or two others around. Ash Sutton has been quick but unlucky this season. The best that we've had out of Ash has been a third place. Sandy Mitchell, very quick at Monza until the internet disconnected and spat him out. So the best result he's had is a 7th. And then you've got double winner Jonathan Huggard lining up third on the grid. Further proof of people getting it wrong there. Look, in front of the stands with the flag imminent. So as one or two now get themselves set. That is a car that hasn't been out in qualifying. Seb Morris as a penalty imposed by Derek Warwick for causing an accident at Spa. He can't do the qualifying session. So Seb Morris, number 31, there he is, will have to start at the very back of the grid. And the car rather forlornly sits in the pit lane getting set for the race itself. So the flag will be out, the virtual flag, to end the qualifying session very shortly. Then the drivers will reset, get themselves sorted for the 25-minute race. Anthony Davidson has just improved his time right at the very end to go 19th on the grid. And we have had 33 of them go out to do a time. One or two others missing the session. In fact, Steve Soper, I think, is one that didn't set a time. We know about Seb Morris. But very shortly then, we will be good to go with Ash Sutton lining up on pole position with Sandy Mitchell alongside him. Third on the grid is going to be Jonathan Hoggard, and alongside him, Inam Ahmed. On the third row, Oliver Rowland and Ben Hanley, ahead of Tom Canning and Jordan Albert. On the fifth row, new to the series, Charlie Fagg, GT4 racer last year. He's got Oliver Turvey for company. Another newcomer is next Ed Jones. Another newcomer is alongside him. It's Arjun Maini ahead of Richard Westbrook. And then Ben Barnicoat, who recently lost his lead in the SRO eSports series, but he's hoping to fight back with a round to go. Will Tregurtha lines up alongside Will Stevens on the next row, ahead of touring car racer Adam Morgan and Tom Gamble. 19th is where you find Anthony Davidson and then Jody Fannin, ahead of Dan Camish and Tom Ingram. The next row is Paul Rees and Oliver Jarvis. Behind them, it is Aston Martin factory driver Johnny Adam and another newcomer, another World Endurance racer, Nick Foster. Then you've got Toby Sowery, also new for this evening, alongside Martin Plowman. Dario Franchitti is next, alongside James Dorlin. Then it's Andy Prio and Billy Munger. Callum Eilert a long way back, and Steve Soper next, with Seb Morris, 35th on that grid to complete the order. So that then is how they line up. 25 minutes of racing is set to get underway. 5 lights will go on. When the lights go out, we will be racing at Suzuka now for round 4 of the BRDC eSports series with iZone. A great start by Sutton. To the inside line, though, goes on the run down towards the first corner. Sandy Mitchell, is he going to be able to squeeze through? No, he's not. So it is Sutton who leads then through the first corner, up towards the snake for the first time. But Sutton gets sideways and loses it in the pack, and there is mayhem. Others get caught up in it, including Inam Ahmed. By the look of it, there's another big roll there. More and more carnage, as I'm afraid cars bounce off the road. Who have we lost out of all of that? Well, more to the point, who has survived? Adam Morgan's got caught up in it. Paul Rees was another. Those that were at the back of the grid have kept out of trouble more or less. There's still cars in the wrong direction. Sandy Mitchell did lead, but he's now spun away the advantage, coming back into view, coming over the brow. So Ash Sutton has had a go in the lead and lost it, thrown it away. Then we see Sandy Mitchell do the same, and Jonathan Hoggard is going to be the man that comes through all the mayhem on the opening lap to lead as they come then now under the bridge down towards the hairpin. So there he is. It is Jonathan Hoggard leading the way. Now Jordan Albert was going after him in second place, but Hoggard has already been able to build a gap. Another car slides off the road in the background there. Look at the hairpin, which had a feel, looking at the liveries, that could have been Ash Sutton, but Hoggard it is that leads the way. Albert is second, and then in third it is Charlie Fagg keeping out of trouble. Now replay of the start. Look, Sutton has the advantage. He leads, comes through the second element of the first corner, if you like. The back just breaks away. Around he goes. Inam Ahmed has got nowhere to go. Others bounce off the road, not really in avoidance, because they can't avoid. Who was the other one we lost? Arjun Maini was the red and white car that went a cartwheeling. So that sorts out the mayhem at turn 1. Sutton fights back. Sandy Mitchell had the lead and then also had a spin. Jordan Albert, though, now is about to lose out. Look, Charlie Fagg challenges as they come down to the Casio Triangle, the chicane at the end of lap 1. And while all that's going on, so Jonathan Hoggard is trying to break clear up front. Jordan Albert runs second then. Charlie Fagg, welcome to the BRDC eSports Championship, Charlie. He's going great guns. He shone in GT4 racing last year in Europe and in Germany, and he comes over the timing line now, under attack though, because he's got Ed Jones right there behind him. Ed due to race for WRT in the DTM this season, having been racing stateside for the last couple of years. He runs fourth then. Oliver Turvey is fifth. Ben Barnicoat's going nicely now in sixth place. Sandy Mitchell is down to seventh. Tom Gamble is eighth. Will Stevens is ninth. Jody Fannin is in 10th place. And looking at who has benefited on the opening lap in terms of places gained, Andy Prio up 16 places on the opening lap alone. What about Seb Morris? Because he's another one, of course, to keep an eye to as he works his way up from the pit lane. James Dorlin, another newcomer, another of the rising stars making progress. Ben Hanley, we have a long way back. Tom Ingram badly delayed. Seb Morris 33rd. As there, going through, is Seb Morris. So remember, he had to miss qualifying. He's come up from the pit lane, effectively the back of the grid. He's under attack, though, from Tom Ingram, who makes the move on the inside line. Look now, making the run down towards turn one, and Ting goes through on the inside line there. Takes the place as they go into the first corner. So Jonathan Hoggard, it is, currently leading the way. Riding on board with Seb Morris as he chases after Tom Ingram. Let's have another look at that battle between the pair of them. So Jonathan Hoggard, race leader. Jordan Albert running in second spot. Game on for third, though. Charlie Fagg just up ahead of Ed Jones as they come to the Casio Triangle. This to complete lap 2. Heading up towards the timing line once more. Jonathan Hoggard did lead by 0.7 of a second. He's trying to build on that as they come over the line. Now you're riding with Ed Jones. Jordan Albert's just done the best lap of the race. Jones makes his move for 4th place on the outside line, heading down to the first corner. On the inside line, though, is Charlie Fagg. Ed Jones gets his nose in front, but he can't swoop all the way around the outside. So he's got to slot back in behind as they come then now up towards the Snake. This is lap 3. Clock ticks on down. 4 minutes in the book already. And Charlie Fagg just hangs on to the place. But again, a bit like we saw from Ben Tuck and others, an impressive debut for the Rising Stars. 69 being given a tap in the tail as Richard Westbrook. And it's more than just a spin. A spectacular exit from the race. Richard Westbrook goes off, ends up upside down. And he had a bit of help in all of that, I'm afraid. So Richard Westbrook is out. Another driver who, of course, made his name in his first career, really, in single-seater racing, former Austrian F3 champion, then had many, many years away, came back in Porsches and made a name for himself in Porsche Super Cup and then in GT racing, sports car racing as a whole. Charlie Fagg, though, there, number 14, still fending off Ed Jones. This is the fight for third. Ed has already picked off 7 places. Back on board with Ed Jones then now as he tries to make that move on the inside, has a look to the inside line against Charlie Fagg, but to no avail then as they sweep their way through the left-hander. Ed hooks a wheel up on the curb on the inside. Now back on the power once more on the run up towards the end of the lap. Out of that 130R, of course, up through the fast left onto the Casio Triangle. Heavy braking. There's the 130R. A real man's corner. Down to the triangle then now. Brake hard. And on the inside, Ed Jones makes his move and he goes through. Gets the job done nicely. So that puts him now up into 3rd position. Jordan Albert, though, is closing on Jonathan Hoggard. He's managed to shake off this battle pack behind him. There are the race leaders, look. Jonathan Hoggard, who might be doing a bit more racing around here when the season kicks in for good because he's going to be racing in Carrera Cup Asia this year. He leads the way. Jordan Albert going after him. And that gap just 0.7 of a second and a little bit less than that even as they turn out of the first corner. We've got the best lap of the race set by Sandy Mitchell. There are more battles going on further back as well because you've got Tom Gamble here, busy squabbling. There he is, number 23, Tom Gamble with Will Stevens just up the road ahead of him. Ash Sutton trying to fight back, more drama ahead of him. Another 2 go off the road. So Ash Sutton has just been gifted 2 more places out of all of that. Billy Munger, one of the drivers, I think, that's been caught out at the first corner. Gets going again, but the lead battle is well and truly joined. Jonathan Hoggard, yes, has the advantage, but he's coming under renewed attack now from Jordan Albert. That gap coming down and down. Sandy Mitchell, after his lap 1 spin, still worth keeping an eye to, don't forget, because he is the man now with the fastest lap to his name. He's in 7th, but he is doing his level best to fight back. On board with Sandy Mitchell then now. Ahead of him is Ben Barnicoat. So Sandy, who drove last year in Lamborghinis, both in one-make championships and in the Endurance Cup in the GT World Challenge Europe, fending off this challenge, is Ben Barnicoat, McLaren factory driver, and Sandy Mitchell gets his nose in front, coming down towards the 130R. And is he going to be able to go through? Yes, he is. So he makes the move quite comfortably. Sandy Mitchell goes by them. And as they break for the Casio Triangle, further back, Jody Fannin there is crawling all over the back of Toby Sowery, another ex-Lamborghini Super Trofeo racer before he went into American single-seaters last year. So Toby Sowery goes ahead of Jody Fannin. Dan Camish up to in the meantime, when he's on the prowl, that is for sure. Dan Camish should go through on the inside. He does. He moves ahead of James Dorlin, and that puts Dan Cam up into 16th place. As off the road there goes 111 Andy Prio. Inam Ahmed is on the prowl. More contact. I'm afraid Inam Ahmed has a second incident of the race. Damage is turned off for this race. It was on at Spa, so even if you are involved in an incident, there's another one for Paul Rees right there. You should still be able to get going game if you can get the right way up. Paul Rees upside down at pit in. And that's Dan Camish, who's gone off the road as well now. So Jonathan Hoggard leads the way. Jordan Albert is the man chasing him still, and that gap 0.8 of a second now. As through there goes 38 Oliver Turvey. Now he is 5th, Sandy Mitchell 6th going after him. Ben Barnicoat runs in 7th spot. Sandy Mitchell though still inching his way up through the order. Who is the big beneficiary in terms of place he's gained? Toby Sowry has gained 17 thus far, running in the top 10. So getting himself used to the sim world and indeed to everybody else around him in this series. Number 19 accelerates towards us, Sandy Mitchell on the back of Oliver Turvey. And right there behind the pair is Ben Barnicoat. Now what can Ben do here about Sandy Mitchell? He was ahead, he lost out. Is he going to be able to fight back? Yes, he is. Sandy Mitchell makes his move. Ben Barnicoat gets in the draft then as they come up towards us. Round the outside of Oliver Turvey, they both go. Sandy Mitchell goes through. Ben Barnicoat stands his ground on the outside line all the way through 130R because that's the inside line for the Casio Triangle. Mitchell goes up into 5th, up into 6th is Barnicoat, and down to 7th is Turvey. So good move then from both Sandy Mitchell and Ben Barnicoat. They are into the top 6 now. Now, in all of this, what about Oliver Rowland? We've not touched on Oliver because he was another driver to be badly delayed on the opening lap. He is in 16th place and out of the points. So Oliver Rowland has got work to do. There he is. Now, we saw him carve his way up through the order at Spa, but right now he is 11 places back from where he started. The fastest lap of the race just done by Ash Sutton, 1:52.003. And it is then the British Touring Car champion in his Subaru days. Now he's going to be an Infinity driver this year, Ash Sutton, who is the quickest man on the road. But Oliver Rowland is the man to watch to see can he get in the points, because with Jonathan Hoggard leading and Ollie Rowland not scoring, this is really grim news as far as his championship hopes are concerned. There he is, number 44. Been taking the virtual Formula E world by storm as well this off-season. Prolonged off-season, but Oliver Rowland currently running in 16th spot. Now in the battle for 3rd place, Ed Jones is ahead, but only just of Charlie Fagg. Billy Munger's just briefly tripped off the road, but gets back on again. And for 3rd, Ed Jones versus Charlie Fagg, the two of them together. Charlie was ahead earlier, remember, he's trying to fight back if possible. And as the two of them accelerate their way now up towards the completion of this 6th lap, what have we got left? Still just under 15 minutes to go. Look back from Ed Jones' car. Charlie Fagg is right there behind as they sweep through the 130R. Is he going to be able to make the move coming up to the chicane? He's close enough, pulls to the inside. Not really able to commit to the move though there. So Ed Jones hangs onto the position. Charlie Fagg tucked up behind, but while they're squabbling, of course, they're the top two getting away. The leaders go by, and the gap is what, 4/10 effectively now between Jonathan Hoggard and Jordan Albert, as Sandy Mitchell now does the fastest lap of the race, a 1:51.74 or 7:37 on the graphic on the screen, because that's showing it in thousandths. Sandy Mitchell goes through. And a very quick young Scottish driver, came from single-seater racing before he came into GTs. He was in the BRDC F4 Championship for the MSV spec Formula 4 cars, not the current FIA spec cars, but they carved a name for himself in GT racing. And was a race winner in the American Lamborghini Super Trofeo last year, as well as being successful for Mark Lemmer, another BRDC member, his Barwell Motorsport team in the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup. But ahead of him is this scrap between Ed Jones and Charlie Fagg. The gap is, what, 2 lengths as they come now down towards the hairpin. Speed build once more. And off the road is Johnny Adam, the Aston Martin factory driver, record-breaking 4 times British GT champion, each with a different co-driver. And Johnny loses a place to Oliver Rowland there, so Oliver is up into 15th place now, but he's still an enormous taxi ride away from points. It's looking all of a sudden a little bit worrying, to say the least, here, especially with Jonathan Hoggard leading and with a little bit of an advantage. Will Tregurtha, another driver that's been racing within the SRO GT series, battling with Tom Canning right now. Charlie Fagg has got his nose back ahead of Ed Jones, incidentally, in that fight for third place. This is Tom Canning's view, goes to the inside against Will Tregurtha. That's the outside line, though, now coming up to 130R. And right round the outside goes Tom Canning, and he gets two wheels on the curb. He'll have the inside line for the chicane, and he goes through. Remember how impressive he was at Spa. He's back for another crack here. Goes a bit deep into the chicane. That's going to give Will Tregurtha a chance to challenge on exit. The line is there, but he's going to be on the outside all the way out of the last curve, all the way down the pit straight, all the way down to the first corner. Still side by side they run. Just getting his nose in front is Will Tregurtha. This is for 12th place out of the points. Will goes ahead and secures that place going into the first corner then. So great battle between these two. Will Tregurtha, British GT4 class champion within British GT. He's ahead now, and we are working lap 8 at Suzuka. One more round of this championship to go in a week's time at Interlagos. Jonathan Hoggard seemingly is going to go there with a healthy advantage in the championship. Now, where is Inam Ahmed, his next opposition? Inam has had so many incidents in this race. We've effectively lost him from it all now because he is, I don't think, circulating anymore. So Inam Ahmed is in strife as far as his hopes are concerned. Jonathan Hoggard then leads the way. Jordan Albert is still chasing after him. Just trying to do some very quick computations as to whether Jonathan can even win the championship in all of this, because he'll bank another 25 points. Oliver Rowland is going to be out of the points completely. He was a point back anyway going into this race. No Dan Harper. Inam Ahmed fourth, not scoring. Jordan Albert is the man fifth in the championship. But Jonathan Hoggard now is looking mighty strong, isn't he, as he comes here down towards the chicane once more. Further back, number 23, Tom Gamble, trying to defend. That's Oliver Turvey up behind him. So over the timing line they go. It does look, though, as though this is going to be potentially the end of Oliver Rowland's championship hopes as the cars accelerate their way for the 9th time up towards the mid part of the circuit. They go through Snake onto the so-called anti-banked curve down to Dunlop, and the battle here between Tom Gamble and Oliver Turvey is for 8th place, and it is just Tom Gamble fending off Oliver Turvey for the moment, with Toby Sowery running in 10th place, therefore looking as though he's going to be on for the final point. So Jordan Albert still running in that 2nd place. Off the road there, Andy Prio, the Triple World Touring Car and European Touring Car champion. Ash Sutton goes through. Now, he did have the fastest lap of the race earlier, if you remember, and he's off the road again, I'm afraid. Slides off the circuit and continues on his merry way, albeit a long way back and out of the points. So there goes Jonathan Hoggard. But if he does win this, I'm thinking that he could possibly even start the championship with a round to go. Trying to do the sums, keep an eye to what's going on the circuit, and that is that you've got this fight for 8th and 9th, Gamble versus Turvey running together. Turvey thinks about the inside as they dive down towards turn 1. Where's Oliver Rowland in all of this? He's still only in 14th place. Jonathan Hoggard wins, he's going to end up with 77 points, even if he doesn't score at the final round at Interlagos. Oliver Rowland goes there with 51 points. That's 26 points back, 25 for a win. it would suggest that Jonathan Hargaard is going to win the championship in this race, wouldn't it, given the margin that he's got. Albert running second, but dropping back a little. It is Charlie Fagg third, Ed Jones fourth, and Sandy Mitchell fifth. We've had that place change a few laps back again to put Charlie Fagg back up into third spot. Sandy Mitchell, though, is closing a little on them because he is lapping on that last lap quicker, in fact, than the 5 ahead of him. So Sandy Mitchell is doing a very, very good job here, bringing down the gap against that leading gaggle, and he's almost on the tail of Ed Jones here. So through goes Jones, fourth place, out of the 130-yard down to the Casio triangle. Now, is Charlie Fagg getting a little bit nearer, possibly, to Jordan Albert for second place? The gap to the eye is a little bit less. Jonathan Hargaard is doing his usual trick, storming clear up front. Jordan Albert, another single-seater to GT driver, works at iZone. He's been another key part of putting together this series, along with iZone and Talk and HP Tuners, as I say, who are supporting these final 3 races within the series. Now, what about Will Stevens, the former Formula 1 racer? He is busy in 7th place. Now, Oliver Rowland, fastest lap of the race. Is that going to help get him up the order any further? 13th he is. He's got to be in the points to keep his hopes alive, and they're going to be slim hopes going into the last round. Right now, it's going to be championship honours with a race to spare, provisionally, to Jonathan Hargaard. His next target is Will Tregurtha there, going through the shot. But even after that, he's got to catch Jody Fannin and Toby Sowery, so it's not going to be easy, this, as we see in replay. Oliver Jarvis on the back of Johnny Adam, coming down to the Casio triangle. Oliver Jarvis goes through on the inside line and picks up the place, but then gets all crossed up, spins right across the front of Johnny, and so drops to 22nd as a consequence. Jones accelerates through with Charlie Fagg up the road, but if anything now, Sandy Mitchell looking closer to Ed Jones than Jones is to Fagg here as they come up towards the 130R once again. Clock ticks on down. We are into the final 5 minutes here. To the outside line goes Sandy Mitchell. All of this now is for 4th place. Of course, a tangle between people is another lifeline thrown to Oliver Rowland, who is still, only in 13th, but he needs quite a few people to fall off in these final few moments of the race. Under the gantry they come, down towards first corner, into the right-hander, will swoop Sandy Mitchell now. Sandy Mitchell could barely be closer to the back of Ed Jones' car. Ed has to go defensive. That means he drops away from Charlie Fagg, who has certainly been impressive in this. It's great to see the rising stars, even if they only come in for 1 race. We've seen it with the likes of Tom Canning or Ben Tuck. As soon as they get behind the sim, get into this environment, they really do shine. The other rising stars in this include Tom Canning, who is in 14th place, James Dorlin in 17th, Billy Munger, who's been a regular, but he is a rising star. He's in 16th spot now. And on board with Sandy Mitchell, he could, as I say, barely be closer to the back of Ed Jones' car. Now it's just a case of where he makes his move. And Charlie Fagg, at the risk of stealing BRDC Superstars director Andy Merrick's thunder here in terms of choosing an HP Tuners driver of the day, I would think that Charlie Fagg has got to be somewhere near the top of that shortlist. Right now, though, Sandy Mitchell all over Ed Jones like the proverbial rash here. Is he going to be able to make a move? Well, there, look, Ed Jones goes a little bit wide. Makes a small mistake coming out of the hairpin. That compromises the run now, heading up towards 130R. So is this going to be a chance to make the move? Let's see. Yes, it is. Through he goes. Sandy Mitchell goes through, up into 4th place. Ed Jones slips back behind him. Down towards the chicane they come. If Ed's on his toes, he might just be able to have a go on the inside, but no, that's covered off by Sandy. So Sandy Mitchell is up to 4th then, and on target, therefore, for his best of the season. For Jonathan Hargaard, though, it is going to be seemingly win number 3. Over the timing line they come. Hoggard leads the way, but now it's game on for second place all of a sudden. Charlie Fagg look right on the tail of Jordan Albert here as they come through first corner. And that's going to play right into the hands of Jonathan Hoggard yet further. It is also going to give Charlie Fagg the chance of being second. It's also going to potentially take points off Jordan Albert as they swing their way up now through the Snake on towards Dunlop. Look further back, Oliver Rowland is a second or so back from Will Tregerthen. He's still not close enough. He's still not been able to make that move. Ben Barnicoat has done a personal best lap as he starts to close now on Ed Jones for 5th and 6th places. Ed just dropping away a little bit late race here. But as Hoggard comes through, we might yet get a change for second, because there Jordan Albert, himself a rising star, but a regular within the championship, keeping Charlie Fagg at bay. But Charlie is on a mission, isn't he? He's got back ahead of Ed Jones then. He is charging on in pursuit of Jordan Albert, conscious maybe that Sandy Mitchell is not that far behind him. So as Jonathan Hoggard gets away, game on for second place. Through they turn. Jordan Albert with just over a minute of the race to go, keeping Charlie Fagg at bay. They get a squeeze provisionally, one more lap out of this, aren't they? But only just as they come now down towards the approach to the 130R. You can see the clock ticking down. There is Jordan Albert, the race leader through. For second place on the inside line, Charlie Fagg is ahead of Jordan Albert, but Jordan tries to stand his ground on the inside line now, heading up towards the chicane at the Casio Triangle. He does, he goes back through, goes a little bit deep, rides the curb, comes out ahead, although the back snakes on him. Jordan Albert into view, back up into second place. Charlie Fagg right there, now planning the move as they come through to start the last lap of the race. Jordan Albert covers off the inside line. Down towards turn one, Charlie to the outside line, Jordan Albert on the inside, but Charlie Fagg keeps on coming. Wrong line though, can't swoop all the way around the outside. And look at this, all of a sudden Sandy Mitchell is closing right up in 4th place. The two drivers ahead delaying themselves, allowing him to get closer and closer and closer. We could yet then have a change within 2nd, 3rd and 4th places, because it's now a battle pack of 3. The black car of Sandy Mitchell is just about there. So Jonathan Hoggard back into view, well clearing the race lead. So the man that was victorious at Silverstone, victorious at Spa, looks like he's going to win at Suzuka, and provisionally will be champion-elect, because I think the gap, I'm pretty sure the gap in terms of points will be too great for anybody to overhaul after this evening. As you look back at the Fagg versus Mitchell battle, that gives Jordan Albert a bit of breathing space. He's getting away up the road. But Sandy Mitchell is running out of time to get himself up past Charlie Fagg for 3rd place. Charlie can't do anything about Jordan Albert now, because he's having to go defensive as the cars wriggle their way up towards the completion of lap 14. The clock gets to 25 minutes. So it'll be the checkered flag then, provisionally this time, as the cars accelerate their way up now towards the chicane. Jonathan Hoggard is clear up front. 2nd, 3rd and 4th though could yet change, and it could all end in tears. You never know. Coming into the chicane, Jordan Albert covers off a challenge from Charlie Fagg. Sandy Mitchell is right there as well. The checkered flag is at the ready then as Jonathan Hoggard accelerates his way up towards the timing line to win for the 3rd time in the BRDC ESports Championship with iZone. 2nd is Jordan Albert, 3rd is Charlie Fagg, and 4th is Sandy Mitchell. In 5th place, Ed Jones. Will Stevens is 6th, getting ahead of Ben Barnicoat at the end for 7th. Tom Gamble is 8th. 9th is Toby Sowery, and there in 10th, coming over the line, is Oliver Turvey. And what about Oliver Rowland? He is in 12th place as he comes through. So he doesn't score here. Even if he were to win at Interlagos, he would be still a point adrift provisionally of Jonathan Hoggard. So subject to confirmation, Jonathan is the champion, even with a race to spare. But we're not done yet, because lower down the order there are still battles going on. Martin Plowman and Adam Morgan here, and it is Martin Plowman ahead for 20th position. Plowy goes ahead of the touring car racer. This GT star, Martin Plowman, is ahead then at the timing line, and he goes through, takes 20th. Adam Morgan, the Morganator, 21st. But Jonathan Hoggard has done it again then. Win number 3. And as I say, provisionally, that's the championship for him as well. It was all done with great aplomb once more. The man that was one of the great overtakers in the BRDC British F3 Championship last year. Jonathan, who is set to do his racing within Carrera Cup Asia this season, still proving, at least on a sim, that he's every bit as good a single-seater racer still. So, checkered flag in the replay, waved to Jonathan Huggard, and a race win, win number 3, and an excellent job done yet again by Jonathan Huggard then. So 3 race wins, and with Inam Ahmed not finishing, with Dan Harper not racing, with Oliver Rowland not scoring, that should secure the title for him. Excellent drive. But Jordan Albert taking second place. That is 1 place better than last week. So it is his best of the campaign. And Charlie Fagg, brilliant effort to be third, ahead of Sandy Mitchell in 4th. Let's just confirm the results provisionally. Jonathan Huggard, the victor from Jordan Albert and Charlie Fagg. Sandy Mitchell, 4th, ahead of Ed Jones in 5th place. 6th to Will Stevens. Ben Barnicoat, 7th. Tom Gamble, 8th. Toby Sowry, 9th. And 10th to Oliver Turvey. They're the scorers. Jody Fannin, best of the rest, 11th, ahead of Oliver Rowland. And then Will Tregurtha, Tom Canning, 14th from Arjun Miney, Billy Munger, Johnny Adam, and James Dorlin. Behind James, Oliver Jarvis 19th, and Martin Plowman, Adam Morgan losing out at the end, just ahead of Nick Foster. Seb Morris up to 23rd, Tom Ingram 24th from Steve Soper, and then a lap down Andy Prio, Callum Islet 2 laps down, and Ash Sutton a retirement, as were Anthony Davidson, Dario Franchitti, Dan Camish, Inam Ahmed, Paul Reeves, Richard Westbrook, Ben Hanley. It's a long list of people again that had their travails this evening. But Jonathan Huggard, a great drive. He's done it again in terms of a race victory, and that is the championship to him as well. Tremendous effort by Jonathan, and as I say, that win with the lack of success for the others that were within striking distance, Oliver Rowland and Inam Ahmed particularly, sets him up as the champion with a race to spare. Let's try and have a word, if we can, with our top 3 drivers. Jonathan Huggard being the race winner, and Jonathan joins us in the comms channel. Jonathan, well done. Another race win, and with some rather crude maths, we reckon that gives you the championship as well, with a race to spare. So a good evening's work. Well done.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I didn't realise that I could potentially win it this evening. But yeah, no, bit of carnage at the start. I think Ash just lost it, which is so easy to do on the cold tyres, especially around here. It's all fast corners to start. Yeah. So sort of trying to work my way through that. Luckily, I wasn't too far back and managed to get through it. And then I think another car spun in front of me, again on cold tyres, and I just had to manage the gap from that.
Yeah, you're right. It was Sandy Mitchell that was the other spinner. But yes, keeping out of trouble on the first lap, a bit like Spa really, does seem to pay dividends, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's once you get past the first corner, there's slipstream. There's a little, well, you can gain quite a bit in the slipstream, but it's really hard to overtake because it's so fast, the first sector. And I don't think you really gain as much in the slipstream as, say, you did in Spa. So
once you got that gap, you had a battle with Jordan for a lap or 2, but then you were able to just edge away, and it seemed to be, a bit like Spa, a relatively safe second part of the race.
It was quite tricky, to be fair, because the rear tyres went off quite a lot, and with it being all high speed, a lot of load on the rear, it was just a case of trying to be as smooth as possible, not get any slides on, because otherwise, it's so quickly going to end your race. There's no runoff. And then that'll be it. So yeah, just trying to keep myself out of trouble.
Well, we're getting replays on our screen of some of that mayhem on the opening lap. You did keep out of trouble, but by millimetres, but it was enough for win number 3 for the championship, the first ever BRDC ESports Championship winner, Jonathan Huggard. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So as you look at the replay of all the carnage on the opening lap, let's try and grab a word with Jordan Albert, who finished in second spot. Jordan joins us. One better than last week. Second place, Jordan, but you had to work for that. Well done.
Thank you, David. Yeah, one better this time. So, yeah, I mean, wow, the start was pretty crazy. But once I got past the incidents, then I started to press on to Jonathan, and he just eked away about the halfway stage. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Very tough track, so easy to make a mistake. So yeah, a lot of concentration, but yeah, decent race.
Does iZone have a aerobatics simulator? There were that many cars in the air on the first lap. It was like watching the red arrows.
I think it's in development now. After this, so. Yeah, it was. Absolutely crazy. But well done. Yeah, well done to Charlie. Just behind me, he's. I do a lot of training with Charlie, and we. We represented the Rising Stars today.
Sure.
So good. He started pressing on me towards the end, and then I had to go ultra defensive. And Sandy was catching as well, so I just managed to hold him off. But yeah, overall, maybe one better next time.
Well, that would be a good way to round out the series. I bet you wish there were more rounds now, because it's coming better and better and better each week. It's a shame it's going to end next week.
I know. Yeah. We'll have a look to see if season 2 is on the cards, but for now, we'll focus on the last round. But as well, just so glad how it's gone, and looking forward to next week.
Brilliant, Jordan. Well done. Many congratulations. Second place for Jordan Albert, and let's have a word with Charlie Fagg if we can. Charlie having his maiden outing within the BRDC Esports Championship. Like Jordan, Charlie is a rising star, and Charlie, that was some debut. Well done. It was a mighty drive up to third place. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I tell you what, if all my F3 debuts are like that, I might enter the real thing. But not too bad. Obviously, massive thanks to Andy, the BRDC, and Jordan for letting me have a crack at this. It was mega fun. Obviously, you guys have watched the whole season, but 40 top class drivers, so it was great just to be in it, let alone mix it at the front. And yeah, absolutely loved it. Not bad.
We've spoken to Jordan, we've spoken to Jonathan Hargaard, both saying it was a crazy first lap. And of course, you were in the body of the field. You know, you'd not qualified as well as they had. So you had cars all around you and in the air, didn't you, for the first couple of corners?
Yeah, I mean, luckily they all parted ways, so I could go straight through the middle. So to be honest, it was quite good for me, really. I'll start there every time if it's like that. But no, it was a bit chaotic. But fortunately, sometimes you get there a bit lucky, and I got right through the middle, and that was my race, really. Obviously, I had a good little tussle with Ed, and then just started to press on, trying to catch Jordan. And yeah, it was just really good fun. So enjoyed it, and look forward to the next one.
Tell us about that battle with Ed, because you were ahead, then he got past you, and then you were able to fight back. What was going on there? Were you biding your time, looking after things, or were you flat out all the way?
To be honest, I was a bit more shocked that I was in fourth, to be honest. So I was quite just happy staying there. So I thought, let the race come to me a bit. Like Jordan mentioned previously, this track is very, very technical. So there's a fine line between underdriving and overdriving. Okay. And I just found that it took me a while to get into it with the tyres. But once I did, it was just a case of, let's not lose any time battling with Ed. I had to use the toe appropriately. And I could see that Sandy, who was very, very quick behind, was catching. So I thought, it's either now or never to get past him. And fortunately, when I got past him, I could drop him and he couldn't get my toe. So that was the main thing, because the slipstream's so strong around here and in these cars. It was just that was the main thing, just to get out of it and crack on.
Well, it was a pretty mighty debut, Charlie. Well done on third place, and congratulations. As I say, it's been quite a debut in the series. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
So, Charlie Fagg third, Jordan Albert second, Jonathan Hargaard race winner, and the BRDC Esports Championship with iZone champion. If you add the fact that it's his third win, and he's the champion, and he's won it with a round to spare, there's probably enough evidence now to make him the HP Tuners driver of the day. HP Tuners, who are supporting individual rounds, the American-based company that provides tuning tools and software to modify and recalibrate ECUs and gearboxes to get better fuel efficiency and more performance out of your car. There are 30 plus possible customers, you could argue there, all wanting to know how they can be as quick as Jonathan Hargaard, who is the new BRDC Esports Championship champion. There's another race to go in a week's time at a virtual Interlagos, but we have a real star, a real champion, and that is Jonathan Hargaard. We'll see you next week from Suzuka. From David Addison, it's goodbye.